What is up, people? What is up, people? This is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent. We're back at you with another one of our live streams every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us talking about real estate. We're talking about Northern Virginia real estate. That's where I'm located. That's where I hope you want to be located. Tonight, we have a great question we're going to answer from our 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. Tonight, we're going through question number 10 in our series. So today's question is, what is the difference between an agent, real estate agent, a real estate broker, and a realtor, right? Or realtor. That's what today's question is about. First off, a real estate agent is underneath a broker. So if there's levels to the game or the levels to the players in the game, there's a real estate agent, then there's something called an associate broker, and then on top of that is the broker. So both the associate broker and the real estate agent is underneath the broker/brokerage. So every agent that you see in the MLS, most of them are going to be underneath a brokerage. There are several large brokerage houses or companies in the Northern Virginia area, starting at the most popular, which I'm with, the Keller Williams franchise. Then there's Long & Foster's, and I would say who's third? I don't know who's third. I mean, Remax could be considered third. There's Weichert, there's McInerney, there is EXP. There are several brokerages, right? So what are those individuals for? What is the names that they use? How do they classify themselves? With the real estate agents take a 60-hour class called the Principles of Real Estate. After they complete that course study, they then will take a test. And the test is two parts. There's a national portion to the test, and then there's also a state portion to the test. Once they pass that test, then they will be fingerprinted. After they have completed their fingerprint process, they're essentially licensed at that time. Now, we will talk about realtors at the end. That's going to be our last question we cover, because it is important to know that you probably have never met, if you interacted with any real estate agents, a real estate agent who's not a realtor. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Now, like I mentioned, real estate agents are underneath brokerages. What is a broker? A broker is really just somebody who has taken additional course studies and they have some type of experience, which is really 3 years. They have 3 years of experience to qualify for their brokerage license. So these are just different classifications for licenses. Is there any difference between a broker and a real estate license, a licensed real estate agent? Not really. You could be a 15-year vet. I'm 14 years in the game. It'll be 15 years in April. And I've never been a broker. I've never had an interest in becoming a broker because I don't really want to start my own business. I don't want to have my own shop. So there's really not that much of a need. And if I wanted to start my own shop, I could easily go and take the brokerage classes. So what classes do brokers take? They actually take 180 hours of course study. They also have to pass a state and a national exam, and they have to have 36 months of experience. Real estate licensees don't have to have experience. They can come straight into the business. A broker, the reason why people look at brokers as being more knowledgeable or more authoritative is because they have to have 36 months of experience, at least in Virginia. Remember, we're just talking about Northern Virginia. Your state, if you're watching this from somewhere else, your state may be different. So check with a professional in your area. Now, there's another classification for broker, which is called an associate broker. An associate broker doesn't want the liability of starting their own shop, so they actually put their license underneath a broker. So in my case, I'm with Keller Williams Realty, the franchise. The franchise name for my location is called KW United. So KW United is acting as the broker, and then Abraham Walker is underneath that organization. So those are the layers. There are some associate brokers in my office. They are underneath that KW United. So what is the difference between the two? Not much, to be honest with you. You're not gonna really be able to tell the difference in conversation, or they're not gonna be wearing a little badge to let you know that they've done something special. It's really just a different type of license. Both individuals can buy and help people buy and sell real estate, or help them invest in real estate. Both individuals can prospect or sign on new clients for the brokerage, right? So there's really not much of a difference. The big difference comes when you talk about Realtor, right? And that's Realtor. This individual is a member of the National Association of Realtors. Why is that important? Well, this organization has been around since 1908, and it's really served as a means of adding a professionalism to the real estate sales business. Back in the olden days, and this was a long time ago, in the 1900s, late 1800s, selling real estate was something anybody could do, and there was some fraud that was attached to the process. So this group of individuals, I believe it was 19 boards, 120 founding members, all white men at that time, things have changed, came together and started the National Association of Realtors. Now, the biggest thing that they've really brought to the table, and the reason why you've never really met someone who isn't attached to Realtors or isn't a Realtor, is they brought the ethics, the board of ethics, to the table. And so with the ethics, a consumer now has somebody that they can report to in the event that their agent does something unscrupulous, right? Heaven forbids, I don't want anything to happen to you. But if something does happen, now you have a chain of command you can go to, and you can get to some sort of remedy. So that's the Realtors. Now, even with the Realtors, there are layers to that system too. So I'm in Northern Virginia. The board that I'm attached to, there's a local board, state board, and then the national board. So the board that I'm attached to is called the Northern Virginia Association of Realtors, also known as NVAR. That board then goes up one level to the state level, which is called Virginia Association of Realtors, which is the VAR. And then the last phase of that is National Association of Realtors, which is NAR. Those different boards cost us a nice little penny, and NAR, National Association of Realtors, is the largest trade organization in America. Why is that important? Well, there's been some talk about one day Realtors will be no longer, right? Like one day we'll just be able to click a button and do a real estate transaction. The thing, or the entity that is stopping that from happening, is Realtors, because they have a very strong lobbying power, yes. And they have a lot of influence with politicians. So until the National Association of Realtors isn't the largest trade organization which donates to political campaigns, you're probably going to be seeing real estate agents like myself for quite some time. Hey, that's just the way it is. There's a reason why travel agents are no longer really existent. They didn't have a trade organization, or it wasn't that big and they couldn't really be that influential. Okay, so now you know what the difference between those three entities, right? So real estate agent, real estate broker, Realtor. So you could meet somebody, technically you could meet somebody who's a real estate agent or a real estate broker who is not a Realtor. That's not likely though. The reason why it's not likely is because the boards, those three boards that I told you about earlier, the local board gives you access to the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service. That's a service that consumers use and also professionals use as well. It's the service that when we are taking listings, we put that information into the MLS. And when we are representing buyers, we go to the MLS to find out information about listings. Since that information is tied together or linked together with the boards, it's rare to meet someone who is licensed and not a member of the National Association of Realtors or just a realtor in general. So that's why I said you probably have never met someone who's licensed but not a realtor. So that's it. If you're thinking about, Abraham, I'm choosing between two agents. One of them is a broker, one of them is a real estate agent. Which do I choose? Either way, the two of them are going to perform the same acts. You're not going to be able to tell really what's different. Now, I will say some agents do market themselves as a broker, and then they'll say, I provide a level up. I provide services above because I've gone above and beyond other people to become a broker. Yes, sure. They took 180 hours of courses and they passed 2 tests. Congratulations is in order, and it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. These tests are not rocket science, okay? Okay, it's still multiple choice for the most part, and you can study before the exam. So this isn't stuff that is going to really set that person apart. If you have yourself a go-getter, you have yourself preferably somebody who's full-time, somebody who's knowledgeable about the area, and also somebody who has a education focus of like communicating to their clients, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Okay. That is our presentation for tonight. We're going through each question in the 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. Tonight's show was about real estate agent, real estate broker, realtor. What's the difference between the two? Now that we've finished that segment, if you have any questions you would like me to tend to, post those down below in the comment section. I also want to let you know every night at 8 p.m. we're going live to answer your questions and to answer one question in this book. So I'll give you some time. If you have some questions, you can post them down below. If you do not, I'll say good night. I hope you all are having a great start to your week. I hope that you've already started making plans for the weekend. We're planning on going to the city this weekend. We love going to the city. We try to bring the boys out to the city on a regular basis. We could do a better job of that. And I hope that you all are also taking advantage of that. So let's take a little song break. Get your questions. If you don't have any questions, I'll say good night. And I will see you on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. when we will tackle question number 11. Okay, so we have our first question of the night by Toya. Toya asks, and she's on YouTube, do you know of any affordable homes? Well, Toya, I guess it depends on what do you classify as affordable. Are you talking about affordable for condos, affordable for townhouses, affordable for single family homes? What does affordable mean to you? You also want to consider what is your commute times? What other resources are you going to have access to? If you have children, your children may want to you may want to have them in pretty decent schools. Okay, so Toya said that her budget is $200,000 and under. Toya, the best option for you is going to be condos. There are condos that are under $200,000. There are even condos that are in pretty good locations throughout the region at the $200,000 price point. Otherwise, at $200,000, it's going to be very challenging for you to find a townhouse. without going, geez, you would have to go a good little distance to find a townhouse for $200,000. So condos are going to be your best bet. Most likely you're looking at a 1-bedroom. You could find a 2-bedroom in some instances. You'll most likely be looking at an older development, but $200,000, you can absolutely enter the real estate market in Northern Virginia. How many people are in your household, Toya? Okay, Toya says, okay, thank you. Yes, Toya, if you let us know how many people are in your household, we could definitely see where would Toya stay. Does anyone else have any suggestions for Toya? Toya has a $200,000 budget and she's looking for an affordable home. Now, we don't know if she's looking for a condo, townhouse, single family home. Just myself. Okay. Yeah, you could definitely find a 1-bedroom unit. We actually sold a 1-bedroom condo. Was it one? No, it was a studio condo in like this part of Arlington / Alexandria area. And our client only paid like $120 for that studio. And I believe that the 1-bedrooms were going for like $150, $175 in that development. Development had a good bit of amenities too. Off-street parking. You had a gym, swimming pool as well. But it was an older development. So at $200,000, you're still going to be looking at an older development. Toya, which part of the region do you live in? Do you live in, or where are you going to be working? Are you going to be working in Fairfax County, DC proper, Arlington, Tysons, Reston, Manassas, Gainesville? Where are you going to be working at, Toya? And anybody watching, please post your questions down below and we'll be happy to answer them. So Toya is looking for a $200,000 property, just herself, and she would like it to be affordable. She hasn't said that. Okay, so she just let us know some more information. So Toya is working in Fairfax, but live in Herndon. Oh, this will be an easy one for you. Then there are some $200,000 or above, or below $200,000 1-bedroom condos out your way in the Herndon Reston area. And the good news is that since you're going to be near a more heavily populated area, you have a lot of amenities to access too. So Toya is asking us about $200,000 condos for just herself. So I'd assume, Toya, are you okay with a 1-bedroom property? Is it a 1-bedroom okay for you, or do you can you do a studio? If you could do a studio, that would open up a few more options, although there aren't as many studios in the Herndon Reston area. You'll start to see studios pop up in the Tysons, and then you'd have to go into Arlington and Alexandria for additional studios. Okay, if anybody have any other questions, let me know. Okay, 1-bedroom will be fine. Yeah, Toya, you should be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be able to definitely find a 1-bedroom condo in the Herndon Reston area. It is going to be an older building, right? So you may have fewer amenities because of the location that you're in. It's not as heavily populated. So you're looking at probably like a garden style condominium development. Garden style condos are developments that have 4 levels, about 4 levels. They're not going to have an elevator in them. And then the parking is going to be, it's going to be off street parking, but kind of next to the building. So it won't be a garage space. So that's what Toya's looking for. So she wants to know about affordable 1-bedroom condos under $200,000. She works in Fairfax, lives in Herndon. Does anyone else have anything else they're looking for? We could definitely answer these on the spot. Toya says, thank you. My pleasure, Toya. My pleasure. Thank you for the question. We also hope you're enjoying this series. If you're ready to start the home buying journey, there is a link in the description to our perfect home questionnaire. Once you fill out that form, you'll be able to schedule some time, some one-on-one time with me, and we'll link up via Zoom to answer any and all of your questions in real time. We've actually attached our Perfect Home questionnaire to a Calendly app, which lets you schedule your meeting with us or session with us based on your availability. I think it's a cool little product. Any other questions? Oh, you know what? While we're waiting, we got a few people watching. I want to talk to you all about a topic. I was going to do a separate video about this, but this is a great time to do it. With Google, Amazon, and Facebook laying people off, these are tech companies, but there has been this pattern of individuals making buying decisions as far as their homes based on teleworking, right? We've seen people start to stretch out their geographic search to Stafford, parts of other parts of Prince William County, like Gainesville, or even going all the way out to Loudoun, different parts of Loudoun. But when you talk to these people about where they work, they say that they telework, and that is why they have moved to the far boundaries of Northern Virginia. I think that is incredibly risky. I think that's incredibly risky because we're already starting to see that companies are very interested in having their people come into the offices, right? They have tested out the idea of teleworking, but it looks like companies want their workers or their employees back in the office. If that's the case, we should see more efforts for employees to start to force their workers back to the office. What does that mean? If you move out to Stafford and you maybe your headquarters or the office is located in Arlington, and they told you yes, you could telework, and then they changed their mind, now you have yourself an hour plus long commute. And I gotta say, that's just one way. That is going to change the way you live in your property overnight. Okay, please stop buying properties tied to teleworking, right? Still purchase properties that are around or at least a reasonable commute around other employers that would at least hire you. Just consider what your plan B would be, right? When you see these 10,000 people being laid off, 15,000 people, 5% of the workforce, these huge numbers, those individuals have healthy mortgages. And if you moved the hour away from the major employment bases, now you have some tough decisions that could have been alleviated if you just purchased a smaller property closer to everyone else. Okay. I know that this is kind of blasphemy, a real estate agent trying to sell smaller properties, but I am a I try to debate with my clients regularly about moving so far away from the core of the region. So just keep that in mind. That's my take on this. It's not a popular take, but you were starting to see more pushback to teleworking. I don't see that letting up. The federal government, if you have a federal government job, I think that you probably will be okay. The federal government is very slow to move on most changes. But if you work for the private sector, you should be a little nervous about your teleworking options. So please take into consideration this information. Don't move so far out, right? Yes, I know you can buy a large 7,000 square foot home for $1.7 million. And then that same $1.7 million would only get you a 5-bedroom property that's maybe like 4,000 square feet. You can deal with the 3,000 square feet smaller. You still have 4,000 square feet. Okay. No one's going to be claustrophobic in that type of property. And even I know people are deciding, you know what, I don't want to buy a townhouse, so I'll move out to Stafford and buy myself a single family home. That's fine. That's fine. Just keep in mind that is risky. All right. So that's my take on it. I know that that's an unpopular take. Let me know what you think. If you have thoughts about this, do you think that you should take that into consideration, right? Do you think that once your employer goes teleworking, does that mean that you could just cut the cord on being close to major employment bases. All right, we have another question. Toya over here with the great questions. All right, I have another question. My son would like to buy a townhouse or condo also in Virginia Beach for $200,000 and under. I don't know if we have too many people that watch our show in the Virginia Beach area. I'm going to say that because Virginia Beach prices are slightly lower than our prices, and I think by maybe $150,000, your son should be able to find something, but I would have to refer him to somebody in that area. But my contact information is down below in the description, Toya. If you want to reach out to me, and I could definitely find someone for you, and they'll be sure to take care of your son. So are there any other questions? Any other questions tonight? Thank you so much, Toya, for your question. Any other questions? We're here until you stop asking questions and until I stop rambling. Let me see. What else do we see going on? What else do we see going on? We already released our video about the fact that you'll need to think about the idea that you're going to be most likely making multiple offers this season. We're starting to see it. It's starting to pick up. We're starting to get calls on coming soon listings. That's not a good sign for buyers. When we start to get those calls on coming soon listings, that means that those buyers agents lost out the weekend before. That's the only reason they reach out to us like that. All right, so we have another question. What's your thoughts on new builds? Well, new builds are great because you have low maintenance. You also have low upkeep in your beginning years. You could also put your personal touch on it. New builds are the only way, in my opinion, you're going to find a double wall oven in a townhouse. We just don't have those in the older townhouses. New construction townhomes also a lot of them come with those rooftop decks as well. Those are swanky. I don't know how likely it is that you're going to go on a fourth level to use them, but I think that they're cool. They're cool concepts. We actually have a few videos of new construction townhomes on our YouTube channel, Where to Live in Northern Virginia, and I like the decks. I can see myself using it, but I'm pretty sure if it's built by the wrong builder, that it could be pretty hot up there on that level. Also, in some of those new construction townhomes, I don't know why I'm talking about townhomes, but townhomes is the most likely, second likely property type, right? But in those new construction townhomes on that fourth level, sometimes they have like that little boy unit. It's a little HVAC unit, that almost like a window unit, but it's really just for one level. And that's interesting. That's interesting. I've heard both positives and negatives about those. The main challenge with new builds is that they're not located close to much of anything, really, because Northern Virginia is for the most part built out as far as the core. So you do have a large new construction development in Falls Church. You have some condo development in City of Alexandria. You also have a new development in Arlington and just a few spots in Fairfax County. But most of your new construction is going to be in Loudoun County, Gainesville. Manassas has a few developments. Then Prince William County has a couple developments, and then the next lion's share of new construction is going to be in Stafford County. So another thing new construction properties offer you is in the next couple months, right? So let's say we're at the end of January. So assume that February through June, we should see multiple offer scenarios in probably 50% of all transactions. With that level of activity, a lot of people are going to be losing out on properties they believe are going to be their primary target. So new construction properties allow you the opportunity to not to have to deal with multiple offer scenarios unless you're going after ultra luxury properties like the Arden in Great Falls, which are the $2.5 million properties that they only released 2 properties every, I think, like 2 or 3 months. And every time they release properties, there's multiple offer scenarios. Okay, so TYC624 says, what are your favorite builders in Northern Virginia? My favorite Northern Virginia builders, in no particular order, I would have to go Toll Brothers, Miller and Smith, and Dries Homes. Toll Brothers, Miller and Smith, and Dries Homes. I like Toll Brothers because Toll Brothers, I feel, is a large national brand that has a really good control over their finished product. They have really nice layouts. They do a great job with the design phase. I see that the customers really like the interaction with that particular company. So that's why I like Toll Brothers. Also, I think that Toll Brothers townhouses are immaculate. Their single family homes are gorgeous. Their condos are kind of similar to a lot of the other products on the market, right? So if you're going for a townhouse or a single family home, Toll Brothers is really going to stand apart. Then we have Miller and Smith. This is a local small company, and they only have a townhouse development in Chantilly right now, and they have a 55 plus community going in Embry Mills in Stafford, but they do a great job with the layouts and finishes. It's a different touch. Even though they're a local builder, it offers almost like a Californian vibe, which is more of a, if you think about California as the trendsetter for design, that's what Miller and Smith does. Last up, we have Dries Homes. Dries Homes is another luxury builder. They're also a custom builder as well. So they'll offer you the opportunity to make some changes to your build out that you probably wouldn't get from a Pulte or Ryan or DRB Homes, right? So those are my three builders. Also, I like with Dries Homes, I like that Dries customer service is pretty good. I feel like everyone on the Dries team is customer service oriented. So I think you're going to have a pleasant experience going through the build out process with them. Yes. So those are my three: Toll Brothers, Miller and Smith, Dries Homes. If I had to pick a winner up, I would say it's Pulte. I like Pulte's. I feel like Pulte has some of the more airtight products. And they are another large builder. I dislike the communication that they offer, but the product is pretty solid. So those are my picks. What are your picks? Who are your favorite builders in Northern Virginia or just in general? There is a company called, I'm going to actually go record a townhouse community this week by Integrity Homes. This will be my first Integrity Homes video that I'll do maybe this week or next week. So that'll be interesting to go see. Who else surprised me? So we have Dries Homes. We also have, what is the other one? It's an L something. We have a couple clients that purchased those. I can't think of the name. The name escapes me. Oh, TriPoint. Yeah, TriPoint has a nice product. So TriPoint has a development in Brambleton that I toured. It's on the channel. They also have a California design or a California theme. I'm not too familiar with them, but I do know that they are, based on my research, their customer service is also pretty good, and their sales associate, I mean, you could judge a lot by the sales associates because that is also a recruiting arm, so they have to attract talent. And I was very pleased with the TriPoint sales associate that I interacted with out in Brambleton. So they have some single family homes in Brambleton. They're building a new townhouse subdivision in City of Alexandria. It's over there by, where is it? Over by, So like it's by a restaurant supply store. What is that street name? Eisenhower Avenue. So there's a new Tri-Point home community, townhouse community going up over there as well. So yeah, so another reason why new construction or new builds are challenging in Northern Virginia is because like these Tri-Point homes, they're going to be off of Eisenhower Avenue. That's a more of a commercial development. So there really isn't much land that's going to be a community or around a community, right? So you're going to have a lot of these infills where a large plot of land becomes available, but it's not really close to parks, other homes, and things like that. So that's the challenge with new construction. Maybe that area off Eisenhower Avenue will be redeveloped. I don't know. You know, redevelopment is such a risky game. It's such a risky game. It's a bet. It's a bet, and you know, some people could lose. All right. So, what questions do you all have? We'll stay on until we answer all the questions. Every night at 8 p.m. we're on live, and we're going through the 100 things every first-time home buyer should ask. This is a great book to pick up. It'll give you some insights into the industry. My goal is to bring you a local real estate agent's perspective on this book. This book is really written for a national audience to appeal to the most people. And my goal is to give you a filter, the local real estate agent's filter on this content. Let me ask you this, since you all are still hanging with me. What do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about me making myself available every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to answer your questions? Is this a good idea? Do you just like the prepared content? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts around that? Okay, so Teresa says she likes the live stream setup. What's your thoughts on buy downs? So buy downs are where you pay more money to lower your interest rates. I don't think that buy downs are a good idea or a good strategy, just because you're putting up cash up front in the hopes that the future will play out the way you plan. And from my understanding, most plans don't work out. So save your money, pay a slightly higher mortgage payment, and then if interest rates adjust in the future, refinance if it makes sense. So that's my thoughts on buy downs. One thing to consider, a lot of these techniques and tools are really designed to get you to buy a property at the bank's convenience, right? So they make these marketing campaigns, these marketing pitches, right? A 2-1 buy down, or a adjustable rate mortgage, or all these different terms. They're just trying to get you into the market sooner rather than later. And I don't know if rushing to do your first real estate transaction is a great idea, given the fact that in Northern Virginia, at least, you could be spending $500,000. So I'm not a fan of buy downs. Get the price lower, have the seller pay your closing costs if that's an option, or take a slightly higher interest rate and see what happens in a couple years. One thing to consider, the average buyer is going to stay in a property 7 to 10 years. All right. So 7 to 10 years. But that depends on what phase of life you're in, right? So the purchases are usually happening in different cycles. So we have people going through a cycle of young adulthood to the more professional career. And once they become a professional and they start to make a little bit more money, they usually try to upgrade their living expenses or their living situation. So that person would make a move. And then we have individuals who are getting married or they're finding a life partner. Once you have those two incomes, then those individuals are thinking about making another move. What stage of the cycle you're in, if you're at the beginning of a cycle, a new cycle, or at the end of a cycle, will determine if you'll even stay in some of these properties for an extended period of time. All right, so we have another question. How long should I wait till after I buy a car to apply for a home loan? How long should you wait? I think the question should be, since you just purchased a car, are you even going to be able to afford a home? So I would reach out to a lender now, even if you already purchased a car loan. I mean, a car on a loan, and find out what your purchase power is with the car loan. And then let them tell you what steps you'll need to take, whether or not you'll need to get rid of the car so that you could qualify for a property, or if you'll need to wait. Okay, so Teresa asked, should it be more about your debt to income in general? Debt to income in general. I don't think so. I think that real estate is more of a forced savings account play versus a investment. So if you think about a real estate property as something that after you've paid it off for 30 years, you'll have this chunk of equity tied to this asset, then putting the money into your property versus paying off some debt, it will be a personal decision, really. So debt to income is really going to be a calculation that the lender uses to determine. Oh, I think Teresa's talking about the car loan conversation. Yes. So yes, it's going to be your debt to income ratio is going to determine what size loan you're going to be able to get, right? So the first question was, how long should you wait till after you buy a car to apply for a home loan? And then the response was about the debt to income ratio. Yes. So the lender is going to be able to tell you what their debt to income ratio is. Different lenders have different debt to income ratios, but I will say they're not going to be wildly different, right? So if you go to one and they say you're only going to be able to qualify for $300,000, if you go to another one, maybe they'll say you can qualify for $325,000. It's not going to be a significant difference. So you do want to find out, since it sounds like you've already made the purchase, RPJJLI, it sounds like you already made this car purchase. Just go find out what the lender is going to say and then deal with that information as you get it. But it doesn't make sense for you to be concerned or hesitant about talking to a lender about the potential of purchasing a property. Don't let the fear of what they're going to say hinder you from getting the information. You need the feedback to know what's the next step that you should take. Because I've heard of people selling their cars, getting out of their loans, purchasing a property, and then just buying a car after their home closes, right? So getting the debt off of your record, buying your property, and then purchasing the car afterwards. I've definitely heard that strategy used, and it could help you to achieve your long-term goals, which would be to purchase a property. So do the lenders pull your credit when you first talk to them? They won't pull your credit when you first talk to them, but they will pull your credit if they are in the middle of an application. So you can give them a little information about your scenario, where you could tell them how much money you make, the amount of debt you have, and then that lender will be able to tell you, they'll be able to run some scenarios for you based on they have a system that they use that kind of give you these that runs different scenarios without pulling your credit, because a lot of people are concerned about their credit being pulled. All right, so Kevin Richard says, if you have good credit, buying the car will not matter. It will just need to be calculated into the DTI. And so for all those who are watching, DTI is debt to income ratio. Thank you, Kevin. I think Kevin is actually a lender himself. And so he's watching us on LinkedIn. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and what is this? TikTok. Yeah, so we're everywhere, or we're trying to be everywhere. So yeah, so keep the questions coming. Kevin, if you're in the real estate market, what are you seeing these days? What's going on, Kevin? What are you seeing? Let's see if we can get Kevin. Can I have Kevin's information? Sure, you can have Kevin's information. If Kevin leaves his information, I'll say it out loud. Let everybody know what it is. Thanks, Kevin, for chiming in. So just to let you know, every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we come on to answer your questions. Local real estate agent, 14 years of experience. And we have a YouTube channel, TikTok channel, and we enjoy making content. We do. All right, if Kevin leaves his contact information, we'll get that for you, but if he doesn't, then we'll have to find another way. RPJJLI, if you don't mind, maybe send me a message, and then if Kevin doesn't respond right now, I'll find Kevin's information and get that to you. Okay, Kevin just replied. So Kevin's contact information, he is a lender. He's with First Meridian Mortgage. His phone number is 703-799-5626. Thanks, Kevin, for chiming in. So RPJJLI, Kevin's contact information is 703-799-5626. And that's Kevin, last name RETCHER, First Meridian Mortgage. Thanks, Kevin. Okay. All right, so some of you are watching, and I know that you're going to get discouraged this coming spring season as we come into a more competitive market. The one thing you want to keep in mind is that you cannot become emotional until we have the property under contract. So that means that you may need to put multiple offers on the properties. You may need to put multiple offers in the same weekend. Get ready. Properties come on the market in Northern Virginia on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So that means that you want to have your relationship with your agent tighten up so that you're seeing properties on Thursdays and Fridays. The reason why we want to see properties on Thursdays and Fridays is because if we like one of these properties and we know it's going to be a multiple offer scenario, we want to have a walk and talk inspection done by a home inspector on Sunday, if possible. Okay. Live access removed. What does that mean? Regularly good. Okay. No. Okay. Something happened with the TikTok. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to be shopping this season, just know you want to get yourself ready. It's going to be a hot spring season. All right, let's see what Kevin has to say. Kevin says the market has picked up while rates have drifted lower. We are under 6% with most programs. Yes. And I've even heard from a couple of our buyer clients, they're starting to get nervous because there's a potential, or there's a conversation about the rates potentially picking up. So they're anticipating trying to make a purchase before anything changes. All right, Kevin also says, I have seen a pickup in pre-qualifications in the last 2 weeks. Great. Good feedback, Kevin. And I will say, we try to get our clients to jump on properties in the end of November and December proper, because The market just goes into this lull where you could scoop up a couple good deals. And when I say deals, I mean you can get favorable terms. You're not going to steal a property, right? It's not going to be something where you get some type of ridiculous price cut off it, but you can get favorable terms where you don't have to be pressured to close quickly. You could also receive potentially some closing cost assistance. It's just a more relaxed buying season in that last week of November all the way up to the new year. Soon as January hits, like a week after January 1st, buyers wake up out of their sleep and they were hibernating. They were hibernating for the holiday season, and then they wake up and then boom, it's like we're back at it. We're back at it. The spring market in Northern Virginia has always fascinated me. We've been here for 10 years and spring here is just it's a wild experience. It's just a wild experience. It's something that you have to see to believe. Now, I will say we've been here 10 years, but the spring market really wasn't this way up until like 2019. 2019 is really when springs really start to have some spring in their step, because 2018 we were still writing contracts with some closing costs. All right, so we have another question. Hello, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm looking for apartments near a rail station. Do you have a recommendation for neighborhoods I should be looking for? Or Apex, where will you be working? Where will you be working? Let us know where you're going to be working and we can give you some suggestions. And yeah, let us know where you're going to be working. All right, Kevin says his last 3 deals, 3% concessions. I know, Kevin. I know. We're working with a client right now, and if they would have made a move just 3 weeks ago, they would be almost closed, really. I mean, they'd be almost moving to their property, but they were not moving as quickly as we would have liked them to. And now almost every property we've seen that has been new to market has had multiple offers. I mean, we even received a email recently. Let me see what this email says. Let me see if I can pull it up for you all. Nope, that's not the email. Oh yeah, listen to this email. Listen to this email. Thank you for showing my listing this weekend. We had a very busy showing weekend and open house. Please let me know if you plan to submit an offer. I will be able to meet with the seller tomorrow and present offers. The seller is looking for a clean offer with a quick close in 21 to 25 days with a possible short rent back till the end of February to coordinate her move. Please let me know if you have any questions. This email says, hey, look, we're going to get a lot of offers. And before you start to put all of that junk in this offer, like concessions and home inspections and all kind of other contingencies, just know we got other offers on our plate. We want a quick close, 21 to 25 days. That's not an insignificant deal, right? 21 days that's quick. That's quick. I mean, 30 days. Why didn't she say 30 days? And they want to rent back. When they tell us they want to rent back in the email like this, usually that means that our client, the buyer, is paying for that rent back. So you got to get ready for what's about to happen this spring market. This spring market is going to be insane. And a lot of our clients do not like, last year, talking to our clients about paying for the rent back, they were like, that's sacrilege, Abraham. I just purchased the property. Why am I paying for this person to live in the property? Because you want the house. That's why. You want the house. Do you want the house or not? If you want the house, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do to get the house. I don't make the rules. I'm just trying to win the game. I'm trying to help you win the game too. All right, Apex says, so I work remote right now, but I am open to most spots in the Northern Virginia and DC area. And Apex, what are you looking to pay for your apartment? And what do you want? Do you want a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, studio? Do you need to have any amenities? Talk to us, Apex. Give us as much details as you can, and we'll see what everybody says. What do you all think? Apex says that he's looking for an apartment near a rail station, and he's in his mid-20s. So I guess he told us that information because he wants to be around young people, not us old people. I just turned 40 over the last couple months, so he doesn't want to be around people like myself, sounds like. So I work remote now, but I'm open to most spots in the Northern Virginia or DC area. Let's help Apex find some place to live. So Apex, I don't know what your budget is. If I had an unlimited budget and you want to be in Northern Virginia, DC area, and you're in your mid-20s, I would go to Boston. Boston would be my first pick. I don't even know what your budget is. Boston gives you multiple metro stops. There's also it's a great walkable community. I have a video on my channel, my YouTube channel, that's a walking tour of Boston. Check it out so you can see like what it looks like. You have access to a couple parks. You also have access to a shopping mall, plenty of restaurants. Also, for your demographics, I think you're going to be pleased with just the number of young or 20 somethings that are going to be in that location. And you can get to DC pretty quickly on the metro stop. On the metro. What do y'all think? If you were 20 something looking for an apartment, wanted to be in Northern Virginia, where would you live? All right, Apex says that I prefer to keep it down below $2,000 a month for rent and utilities included. I like culturally diverse neighborhood if possible. Culturally diverse neighborhoods on a rail stop. And he's looking for a 1-bedroom or studio. Is fine. Yes, I would start my search with Boston. Boston is going to be on the rail stop. You're going to get a nice diverse community and access to a lot of amenities. Also, the demographics are going to be in your favor. What do you all think? Boston, which location would you choose on a rail stop? There's King Street is on the rail stop, but King Street, that King Street metro stop isn't that. It's more of a that part of King Street is more like a sleepy town. In my opinion, there's not really much over there. Where else? A metro stop. There's Tyson's, but that's not. I wouldn't do that one. There's Reston. Reston is far. I mean, I think that Reston is far if you're trying to get into DC on a regular basis as well. What do you all think? And let me know if you have any other questions. My name is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, the Virginia real estate agent. We go live every night at 8 p.m. We start off the show with 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. And then we answer your questions about the local real estate market afterwards. That's what we do. All right. Earlier in today's show, we had Toya, who was looking for a condo under $200,000 in the Fairfax Herndon area. A 1-bedroom was fine for her, and she also has a son who's looking for a townhouse or condo in Virginia Beach under $200,000. We'll find somebody for Toya's son. And now we have Apex, who's looking for a rental property, preferably a 1-bedroom or studio, $2,000 a month for rent and utilities included. Kevin Reacher, a local lender, said that his last 3 deals had 3% in concessions. And so what that means with concessions, you have these, when you're buying a property, you have closing costs. Concessions can offset your closing costs. We're going to see less and less concessions as we move into the spring market. Kevin also said that his pre-qualifications have picked up in the last 2 weeks. I can attest to the fact that it has become much more busier since the start of the new year. So there was a lull after Halloween, and now things are starting to pick up once again. Any other questions? All right, so we'll take a music break. If we don't get any other questions after that song goes off, then we'll call it a night. Just to let you know, we'll be back here 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to answer any and all of your questions. Post your questions down below, and I'll be happy to answer them. And also, the community would also love to jump in and help out as well. All right, so we have a question. Kevin says, how is the Kingstown market? So that's where I live. I live in Kingstown. I believe it's one of the best places to live in Northern Virginia. We have quick access to all of the interstates, and we have multiple grocery stores. We have a little shopping mall. Kingstown is amazing. So Kingstown market has actually started to pick up as well, right? It's also started to pick up. There was a slowdown again after October. There was just this lull, and we saw prices start to come down, and we start days on market start to creep up, because it's kind of challenging to see your neighbor. So there's one case in particular, right? Property on my block in Kingstown townhouse. I live in a townhouse little area. On my block last year, 2 properties sold for $687 and then $675, $676, right? This past weekend, a property in the same condition as those properties as last year came on the market at $630, right? That means that's a $30,000 difference just in a couple months. $40,000 difference in a couple months. So that's hard to stomach, that you lost, or that you're not able to get another, $30,000 isn't an insignificant amount of money when you consider that even if you make $100,000 a year, that's going to take you, maybe a half a year to net that, whereas you lost that money just because the market fluctuated. So yeah, so the Kingstown market is starting to pick up some. So actually, the 2 houses that I was mentioning about the multiple offer scenarios, those were both located in Kingstown. I actually have a listing coming up in Kingstown. I think we're going to be on the market at the beginning of February, and we've already started to receive phone calls on that listing from real estate agents looking for properties for their clients. So Kingstown should be a hot market. Also, Kingstown is usually just a desirable place to live, just because it has a history of providing a good return on investment for homeowners. The HOA does a great job of maintaining the properties. You also have access to some of the best amenity package that is available in the region outside of parts of Arlington and Old Town. And I would say, what is that other place? There's another place in Alexandria City that I would say has a nice amenity package that we like to go to. The name escapes me right now. Is that a sign I need to get some rest? Del Rey. There we go. Yes. So Del Rey also has a nice amenity package as well, where you can get around. You can get around to the different areas and enjoy your community. All right. Kevin says, which elementary school for that listing? If I'm not mistaken, this elementary school is, I'd have to double check. I don't think it's on the opposite side. It's in Kingstown North, so on the other side of Van Dorn. I can tell you in a couple seconds. It's right across the street from Edison High School in that section of Kingstown. Do. All right, so it's tied to Lane Elementary School, Twain Middle School, and then Edison High School. Yep, it's tied to Lane, and then it feeds to Edison because it's on the other side of Hayfield, or really Van Dorn. I have a client that needs Lane Element. Yeah, just let us know. Like I said, it'll be on the market. I think we're scheduled to go on the market February 1st. So let me know your questions. Post your questions down below. We'll be happy to answer them. Just to let you know, just give a recap. We covered the difference between real estate agent, real estate broker, and realtor. And then we had Toya, who was looking for affordable homes. She was looking for something under $200,000. She works in Fairfax, but lives in Herndon. And she also has a son who's looking for some property in Virginia Beach. We'll be able to help both of those individuals. Help her son find somebody. We know agents in the Virginia Beach area. And then we had Apex, who's mid-20s. He's in his mid-20s looking for an apartment near a metro station or a metro stop. Wants to be in Northern Virginia. Budget is $2,000 a month. And he can do a 1-bedroom or studio. I recommended Ballston in Arlington as the first option. What do you recommend? If you were mid-20s, professional, looking for a $2,000 1-bedroom, where would you live? And you want to be near a metro stop. Post your questions down below. We'll be happy to answer them. Do you all think that we'll have any layoffs in the region? Doesn't seem like we've seen the layoffs on the East Coast just yet. At least in the DC metro area, I haven't heard of any. I'm pretty sure that would negatively impact the market. Just be curious though, which companies would let go of their talent in this area? We have a very tight job market here, so it'd be interesting to see. I do have a couple friends who are in the tech space in this area, and they are a little nervous. They are a little nervous, as they should be. Okay, any other questions? If we don't have any other questions, then we could say good night. You don't have to go home. We could we could say good night. We could go and call it an early night. Today is my 11th day of the Whole 30 program, so that's cool. Cool accomplishment. All right, Apex says, I'm from out west and tech jobs are taking a major blow. Glad the East hasn't been hammered too bad. Yes, man, I've heard the news and it's sad. Especially, the main challenge is that when thousands of people in one geographic location are laid off, that just floods the market with people who are looking for the same opportunities. I think we're going to see a lot of relocation out of the West Coast because, those high salaried individuals are probably going to have a challenging time finding a new job, especially when the biggest players in the space are laying off. Where do you go next? Usually the bigger players is where you go to find security, but not so much right now. So this is going to be an interesting year, especially after those severance packages, which it sounds like the average severance package is 6 months of income. So once those severance packages end, what will people do? What will they do? Will they keep their homes? Will they try to readjust their lifestyle? Will they move out of that part of the country? Will they switch careers? I think we're going to see a lot of people switch careers that are in their mid 30s to mid 40s. I think the people that are above mid 40s are probably going to switch careers and do something that probably is going to bring down their income slightly, which means that they're going to have to change locations. All right, so Apex says, that's why I'm looking to relocate actually. While my salary isn't the highest, I miss Virginia and want to come back. Excellent. Well, Virginia has a lot to offer. I mean, don't get me wrong, West Coast has those beaches and mountains that we just can't really compete with. Our mountains don't look the same. But I think that Virginia, especially Northern Virginia, is just such an amazing place to live. We have a lot of history. We also have a lot of things to do, and because of the makeup of our residents, we have a lot of people who are educated, which makes for a lot of interesting conversations and discussions. So when you do make friends up here, they're usually pretty interesting. All right, Kevin says he has to say good night. Good night, Kevin. Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have a mortgage professional on with us. We're super lucky to have that person on with us, provide us with his insights about what's going on in the market. Kevin's over there on LinkedIn. His contact information, let me pull up his contact information again. He's with First Meridian Mortgage, 703-799-5626. Yeah, this is an interesting season. What I'm fascinated by is the fact that the interest rates have increased, prices have increased, and people are still buying like it's nothing. It's like it's nothing. Now, we have had almost 50% of the transactions have dropped off altogether. And really, that's not necessarily there's not enough buyers to buy properties. It's really the sellers have just backed off of putting their houses on the market. So it's almost like the market responded to the interest rate decrease by not diminishing demand from buyers who actually need properties, but from sellers who don't need to buy, who don't need to sell. Because a lot of our volatility in the market is tied to, I would say, the last 2 years, we've had what I call recreational transactions. That was where somebody didn't have to sell, but since they could make more money than they anticipated on their properties, they just sold and moved. They didn't necessarily upgrade their location. They just sold and moved so they could move that money, those winnings, off of the table. And so now we have less recreational activities. And since we had an influx of activity over the last 2 years, we're just going to see less transactions, I think, for the next 2 years as the people who need to move get back into the market. What do you all think? Love to hear your thoughts and comments. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm just talking to myself. I know you all are out there, and also I'm thankful that you joined us. I know you could be anywhere on a Tuesday night, I guess. Probably not, right? Tuesday nights aren't that busy. But I'm grateful that you're here with me. And we're here every day at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about real estate in Northern Virginia. Okay, so if we don't get another question by the end of this song, we will call it a night. If you're ready to start your home buying journey, there is a link in the description to fill out the perfect home questionnaire. Once you fill out that form, we'll schedule a time to meet online via Zoom. You'll be able to actually schedule it in real time. So once you fill out the form, schedule your time to meet, and you can put it on your calendar at that time. So if we don't get any other questions by the end of this song, I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me on tonight's live stream, where we covered the difference between an agent, a broker, and a realtor from our 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. We're going through this book, every question by question. So tomorrow we'll tackle question number 11, and I'll answer some more of your real estate questions. If you're not doing anything, come join me. If you have some questions about real estate, come join me. Until tomorrow, peace.